இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்ட் ஸ்ட்ரக்சரு உட்காந்துருந்தீங்கல்ல ஒரு காலேஜ் எங்க இருப்பாருன்னா இந்த டோர் மூணாவது டோருக்குள்ள நேரம் ஒரு இது போகும் சார் அப்புறம் நம்ம இருந்தோம்ல அங்க இருக்கு மேலாப்புல ஒரு மைக் இருக்கும் மேலாப்புல இருக்கும் ஆண்ட்ராலாம் இருக்கும் அதோட இது ஒரு எக்ஸ்எல்ஆர் அதோட இது ஒரு மைக்கு அடாப்டரு எடுத்துட்டு அடாப்டர் எடுத்துட்டு சுவிட்ச் போர்டு எடுத்துக்கோ Check. Check. Hello, hello. Check. Check. Hello, hello. Check. Check. Hello, hello. Testing 1 2 3. Check. Check. Hello, hello. Testing 1.
Hello. ஒரு small announcement. So the honorable minister is on his way. இங்க ஒரு 5 minutesல வந்துருவாங்க. We will request you all in 5 minutes to step outside for a photograph with the minister. So வரும்பொழுது we'll let you know. So நீங்க இருக்கிறவங்க எல்லாமே if you can just come outside in 5 minutes and we'll take the photograph and then you can come back in and then the sessions will start. Thank you. We can just step outside for and the photograph with the minister. So we just step outside. நாங்க உங்களை ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணிக்கிறோம். எடுத்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் you can come back in.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். அந்தி சாய்ந்த மாலை பொழுதில் அழகிய நட்சத்திரங்களுடன் மின்மினுக்கும் இந்த அரங்கில் நமது தமிழ் தாயினை முதலில் வணங்கி இந்நிகழ்வினை இனிதே துவங்குவோம். தமிழ் தாய் வாழ்த்தினை பாட நமது குழுவினை அன்புடன் வரவேற்கிறேன்.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் வதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டமிதில் தெக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகம் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
நன்றி. அடுத்ததாக நம் மதிப்பிற்கும் மரியாதைக்கும் உரிய குறு சிறு மற்றும் நடுத்தர தொழில்கள் துறையின் செயலாளர் திரு அருண்ராய் ஐஏஎஸ் அவர்களை வரவேற்புரை ஆற்ற வருமாறு பணிவுடன் அழைக்கிறோம்.
மாண்புமிகு குறு சிறு மற்றும் நடுத்தர தொழில் நிறுவனங்கள் துறை அமைச்சர் உள்ளிட்ட அனைவருக்கும் என்னுடைய இனிய மாலை வணக்கங்கள். The government of Tamil Nadu and the MSME department recognize that access to finance, enabling collateral lending, creating increased liquidity in the hands of MSMEs, and reducing the time to receive delayed payments are amongst the most important problems that we need to solve for you. The government is taking steps on each of these fronts, and the MSMEs will be hearing from us in the months to come as we roll out programs to address these challenges. In the past 1 year itself, the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has launched programs on credit guarantee, bill discounting for MSMEs. As I speak, we are running a pilot credit guarantee program for MSMEs, and we have onboarded over 90 Government of Tamil Nadu public sector undertakings on the TREDS platform for domestic bill discounting. We have gathered here today to engage in a discussion on the International Trade Financing Services platform, which is a bill discounting system which can be used by exporters and importers for quick payment. இங்கே வருகை தந்துள்ள FameTNோட புது அலுவலகம் தொடங்கி வைத்த MSCFC கவுன்சிலோட ஃபெசிலிட்டேஷன் கவுன்சிலோட சிறப்பான பர்ஃபார்மன்ஸுக்கு நேஷ்னல் லெவல் விருதுகள் வின் பண்ணிய நம்முடைய ஆஃபீஸர்ஸினை பாராட்டுவதற்கும் திஸ் பில் டிஸ்கவுண்டிங் எக்ஸ்போர்ட்டர்ஸ் பில் டிஸ்கவுண்டிங் பிளாட்ஃபார்ம் சம்பந்தமான இந்த ரோட் ஷோ மற்றும் டிஸ்கஷனுக்கு தலைமை தாங்குவதற்கும் வருகை தந்துள்ள மாண்புமிகு குறு சிறு மற்றும் நடுத்தர தொழில் நிறுவனங்கள் துறை அமைச்சர் அவர்களை நான் இந்த விழாவுக்கு வருகை என்று வரவேற்கிறேன். I welcome Srimati Rajalakshmi Devraj, Additional Director of Foreign Trade. The DGFT and your office has been very supportive with trade information that has helped us understand the exports better, and I am sure this is another step in that direction. I warmly welcome. I need not welcome, but she's the host, but warmly welcome my colleague, the Industries Commissioner. I extend a warm welcome to Thiru Habib Hussain, Regional Chairman, Federation of Indian Export Organization, Southern Region. FIO has been working closely with FameTN on several of their initiatives and has also helped us with the assessment conducted earlier today. I welcome Thiru Raj Khosa, Senior Consultant, International Financial Services Centers Authority. I welcome Thiru Ketan Gaikwad, Managing Director and CEO, RXIL, our partner for TN Trades, and whose team has been working with us closely to meet our bill discounting targets. Let me also extend a very warm welcome to the President of Tansia, Thiru Mariappan, representatives of various industries associations who have come here, very senior bankers who have come here, including the convener of SLBC, my senior officers from the senior officers of the industries MSME department, including the executive director Mrs. Grace, and the additional director, my general managers, MSME entrepreneurs as always, my all other special guests, and the friends from the press. Thank you.
சிறப்பான வரவேற்புரை வழங்கியமைக்கு நன்றி ஐயா. இந்நிகழ்ச்சியில் அடுத்ததாக இன்டர்நேஷனல் ட்ரேட் ஃபினான்சிங் சர்வீசஸ் ITFS பிளாட்ஃபார்ம் பற்றிய முக்கிய குறிப்புரை ஆற்றிட வருமாறு திரு கேதன் கெய்க்வாட் அவர்களை அன்புடன் அழைக்கிறோம்.
Honorable Minister for MSME Thiru Anbarasan, Secretary MSME Thiru Arun Roy, Industries Commissioner Madam Sigi Thomas, Grace Pachau, Regional Chairman Thiru Habib Hussain, Madam Raj Lakshmi Devraj, Senior Consultant from IFSCA Raj Khosa, and dignitaries from financial institutions, SLBC convened, which Mr. Roy has already mentioned, FAMTN staff and colleagues from RXIL also. On behalf of RXIL Global, I am pleased to welcome you all for the roadshow and panel discussion on the International Trade Financing Platform. It's a privilege for RXIL Global to be a part of this gathering today. We would like to convey our regards to the entire FAMTN team for their unflinching support. RXIL, as you know, is a joint venture between SIDBI, National Stock Exchange, State Bank of India, ICICI Bank, and is working closely with the Tamil Nadu government for setting up the TEDS platform, and we already had fantastic success over there. It's my pleasure to mention that RXIL is also setting up the International Trade Financing Platform. It's a different kind of a concept. It's under the supervision of IFSCA. So Mr. Raj Khosa is already there with us from the IFSCA, from the GIFT City. So the Government of India has established IFSCA under the IFSCA Act passed by the Indian Parliament, approved by the Government of India. It's under the GIFT City in Gandhinagar. So just to mention about it, that look, India has witnessed a steady growth of exports in the last few years. India has contributed 5% of global trade, and exports have considered to be an important pillar of India's economy. Ambitions to become a $5 trillion economy. So the thought process is that if India has to become a $5 trillion economy, $1 trillion should come from exports. And Tamil Nadu is the biggest contributor, one of them. I think it's the second state now, which was mentioned today, that it's the second state after Gujarat. So it's contributing to 9% of the exports. And we expect that it will be much more in the coming years, considering that the factories which are being set up under the export financing program over here, exports over here. So ITFS will be an electronic platform for facilitating trade finance. So my colleague Indrajit will take over, so when he'll talk about the ITFS platform. So this is an international platform which is set up to ensure the MSMEs, the medium and the corporates over here, the large, the small corporates and the micro SMEs, will get the benefit of the competitive rate. So normally when you have the large corporates, you know, when just talk in the simple terms, today when an exporter, which contributes to 50% of India's exports, 40% of India's exports, when he actually goes to the bank, he doesn't get the finance at the competitive rates. So when you have the large exporters, large corporates going across, they have an informal way of, the market price which they discover. When they go to 10, 15 banks, they send an email, and whichever gives the competitive price, they give the transaction to them. So this is something which is on the basis of the TREDS, something similar to TREDS, where you'll have market participants, where you'll have international banks coming over there, and bidding for the transactions. Now this is going to be a factoring platform where it will be a non-recourse program. So that means tomorrow the recourse is not on you, but it's recourse on the completely on the buyer on the other side. So how we are doing that? We're going to promote factoring in a big way. So the IFSC platform, the way it is designed, ITFS platform is designed in such a way that we will also have the buyers coming on the platform. At the same time, we also have the FCI. We have tied up with the FCI Factoring Chain International. We have tied up with the insurance companies who will come over there and bid for the buyer on the other side. So they will have a limit set up on them. They'll take the credit exposure over there. So today we will also have the panel discussion to discuss on the topics of the ITFS platform, how it can become a key driver for facilitating MSME exports towards India's drive towards a $5 trillion economy and $1 trillion. So when I'm talking about exports, so I feel proud to say that, look, when we were given a chance by FSCA that we should choose a region for doing a roadshow, we said Tamil Nadu. And why Tamil Nadu? We said, look, we are working closely with the government over here. Great contribution, and please, we have got a great support from the Tamil Nadu government over here. At the same time, we have hubs over here. You have hubs in Coimbatore, Tirupur, Erode, and all that. So, we feel a great opportunity comes for us to start our roadshow. So that's where we started it. So that's what it is. And we expect Tamil Nadu to play an important role when we march towards the $5 trillion economy. So we thanks once again to RXIL, to the Tamil Nadu government to allow us to launch the roadshow for ITFS platform. Thank you.
ரத்தின சுருக்கமாக தெளிவான குறிப்புரை வழங்கியமைக்கு நன்றி ஐயா. அடுத்ததாக நமது குறு சிறு மற்றும் நடுத்தர தொழில்கள் துறையின் அச்சாரமாக செயல்பட்டு கொண்டிருக்கும் மாண்புமிகு அமைச்சர் திரு தாமோ அன்பரசன் ஐயா அவர்களை சிறப்புரை ஆற்ற வருமாறு பணிவுடன் அழைக்கிறோம்.
மிகச் சிறப்பாக நடைபெறுகிற பன்னாட்டு வர்த்தக நிதி சேவை தளம் குறித்த குழு கலந்தாய்வு கூட்டத்திற்கு வருகை தந்திருக்கிற நம் அனைவரையும் அன்போடு வரவேற்றிருக்கிற நம்முடைய MSME துறையினுடைய அரசு செயலாளர் மரியாதைக்குரிய அருண்ராய் ஐஏஎஸ் அவர்களே, சிறப்புரை ஆற்றியிருக்கிற நிதி சேவை நிறுவனமான RXIL நிறுவனத்தினுடைய மேலாண்மை இயக்குனர் மரியாதைக்குரிய கேத்தன் கெய்ட்வாட் அவர்களே, பன்னாட்டு வர்த்தக நிதி சேவை தளத்தினுடைய குழு கலந்தாய்வு கூட்டத்திலே உரையாற்ற இருக்கிற நம்முடைய தொழில் ஆணையர் திருமதி சிஜி தாமஸ் வைத்தியன் IAS அவர்களே, வெளிநாட்டு வர்த்தக இயக்குநரகத்தினுடைய கூடுதல் இயக்குனர் திருமதி ராஜலட்சுமி தேவராஜ் அவர்களே, என்னுடைய கூடுதல் ஆணையர் கிரேஸ் பச்சவ் அவர்களே, அண்ணன் மாரியப்பன் அவர்களே, ஏற்றுமதி மற்றும் இறக்குமதி கூட்டமைப்பினுடைய மண்டல தலைவர் மரியாதைக்குரிய அபிப் ஹுசேன் அவர்களே, இறுதியாக நன்றி உரையாற்ற இருக்கிற RXIL நிறுவனத்தினுடைய தலைமை நிதி அலுவலர் திரு கைலாஷ்குமார் வரோடியா அவர்களே, MSMEயினுடைய ஏற்றுமதியாளர்களே, MSME சங்க பிரதிநிதிகளே, வங்கி அதிகாரிகளே, துறை சார்ந்த அலுவலர்களே, பத்திரிகை ஊடகங்களைச் சேர்ந்த நண்பர்களே, உங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் என்னுடைய அன்பான வணக்கம். இன்னைக்கு இந்திய நாட்டில் 6,30,00,000 MSME நிறுவனங்கள் இயங்கி வருகிறது. இதன் மூலம் 11 கோடி பேருக்கு வேலைவாய்ப்பை ஏற்படுத்தி கொண்டிருக்கிறது நம்முடைய MSME துறை. நாட்டினுடைய மொத்த உற்பத்தியில் MSME நிறுவனுடைய பங்கு 1/3 பகுதியும், மொத்த ஏற்றுமதியில் 45% பங்கு இன்றைக்கு வகித்து கொண்டிருக்கிறது. இதில் தமிழகத்தினுடைய பங்களிப்பு எவ்வளோன்னு சொன்னால் 9.25%. ஏற்றுமதியை பொறுத்த மட்டில் தமிழ்நாடு 1,93,000 கோடி ஏற்றுமதி செய்து இந்தியாவிலேயே 3வது பெரிய ஏற்றுமதி மாநிலமாக இன்றைக்கு தமிழகம் விளங்கி கொண்டிருக்கிறது என்பதை இந்த நேரத்தில் நான் பெருமையோடு சொல்லிக்கொள்ள கடமைப்பட்டிருக்கிறேன். குறிப்பாக ஆடை மற்றும் அணிகலன்கள் ஏற்றுமதியில் 58%, காலணி ஏற்றுமதியில் 45%, மின்னணு இயந்திரங்கள் மின்னணு சாதனங்களில் 25% என பல்வேறு துறைகளில் தமிழ்நாடு தனது பங்களிப்பை இன்றைக்கு தொடர்ந்து அளித்து கொண்டிருக்கிறது. இந்தியாவின் உள்நாட்டு உற்பத்தியை பொறுத்தவரையில் நம்முடைய தமிழகத்தினுடைய பங்களிப்பு 9.22%, ஜவுளித்துறையில் 19.4%, கார் ஏற்றுமதியில் 32.5%, தோல் ஏற்றுமதியில் 33%. இந்த சாதனைகளுக்கெல்லாம் உறுதுணையாக இருக்கிறது இன்றைக்கி பெரிய தொழில் நிறுவனங்கள். இப்பெருந்தொழிற்சாலைகளுக்கு அடித்தளமாக விளங்குவது நம்முடைய குறு சிறு மற்றும் தொழில்கள் தான் என்பதை யாரும் இன்றைக்கி மறுத்தர முடியாது. நம்முடைய முதல்வர் அவர்கள் தமிழ்நாட்டை ஏற்றுமதியில் முதன்மை மாநிலமாக கொண்டு வர வேண்டும் என்பதற்காக தமிழ்நாடு ஏற்றுமதி திட்டம் 2021 வெளியிட்டிருப்பது உங்களுக்கெல்லாம் தெரியும். அதனை நிறைவேற்றும் விதமாக ஏற்றுமதியை ஊக்குவிக்கிற வகையில் எம்எஸ்எம்இ துறையின் மூலம் ஏற்றுமதி மண்டலங்கள், மாவட்ட ஏற்றுமதி மேம்பாட்டு மையங்கள் அமைக்கப்படும் என்று கடந்த ஆண்டு நிதிநிலையில் அறிவிக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. அதனை செயல்படுத்தும் விதமாக தான் இன்றைக்கு தமிழ்நாட்டில் 100 கோடி மதிப்பில் 10 இடங்களில் உள்ள ஏற்றுமதி மையங்களை மேம்படுத்துவதற்கு அரசாணை வெளியிடப்பட்டு இப்போது தொடர்ந்து அந்த பணிகளாக நடைபெற்று வருகிறது என்பதை நான் மகிழ்ச்சியோடு தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். மேலும் நம்முடைய எம்எஸ்எம்இ நிறுவனங்களுக்கு ஏற்றுமதி குறித்த ஆலோசனைகளையும் உதவிகளையும் வழங்குவதற்காக கோயம்புத்தூர், திருச்சி, ஓசூர், மதுரை ஆகிய 4 இடங்களில் வர்த்தக மற்றும் ஏற்றுமதி தகவல் மையங்கள் அமைப்பதற்காக 16,69,00,000 நிதி ஒதுக்கீடு செய்யப்பட்டிருக்கிறது என்பதையும் நான் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். அது இல்லாத எம்எஸ்எம்இ நிறுவனங்களுக்கு ஏற்றுமதி குறித்து அறிந்து நம்முடைய முதல்வர் அவர்களால் குறு சிறு மற்றும் நடுத்தர தொழில் நிறுவனங்களுக்கான ஏற்றுமதி கையேடு வெளியிடப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. மேலும் ஏற்றுமதி குறித்து மாவட்ட தொழில் மைய உதவி பொறியாளர்கள் மற்றும் அலுவலருக்கு முதல் கட்டமாக கடந்த டிசம்பர் மாதம் இறக்குமதி மற்றும் ஏற்றுமதியாளர்களுடைய கூட்டமைப்பு மூலம் பயிற்சி அளிக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. 2வது கட்டமாக கடந்த பிப்ரவரி மாதம் இந்திய ரிசர்வ் வங்கி வெளிநாட்டு வர்த்தக பொது இயக்குநரகத்தின் மூலமாக பயிற்சி அளிக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. இன்றைக்கு காலை முதல் இந்த 2 பயிற்சிகளையும் இணைத்து ஒரு குறுகிய கால பயிற்சியும் மாவட்ட தொழில் மைய அலுவலர்கள் மற்றும் பணியாளருக்கு இன்றைக்கி வழங்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறது என்பதை நான் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். ஏற்றுமதி சார்ந்த எம்எஸ்எம்இ தொழில் நிறுவனங்களை ஊக்குவிப்பதற்காகவும் ஆலோசனை மற்றும் உதவிகளை வழங்குவதற்காகவும் நம்முடைய முதல்வர் அவர்களால் துவக்கி வைக்கப்பட்ட ஃபேமி தமிழ்நாடுக்கான அலுவலகம் இன்றைக்கு அனைவருடைய இனிய நல்வாழ்த்துக்களோடு இங்கே திறந்து வைக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. மேலும் அனைத்து மாவட்ட தொழில் மையங்களிலும் ஏற்றுமதி மேம்பாட்டு மையங்கள் அமைக்கப்பட உள்ளது. இந்த மாவட்ட ஏற்றுமதி மையங்களில் பயிற்சி பெற்ற அலுவலர்கள் மூலம் ஏற்றுமதியாளர்களுக்கு தேவைப்படுகிற அனைத்து ஆலோசனைகளும் வழங்கப்படும். இந்த மையங்களில் ஏற்றுமதி செய்யப்படும் பொருட்கள் மற்றும் ஏற்றுமதி செய்யப்படும் நாடுகள் குறித்த தகவல்கள்லாம் பராமரிக்கப்படுகிறது. எம்எஸ்எம்இ தொழில் நிறுவனங்களை ஏற்றுமதியாளர்களாக மாற்றவும் ஏற்றுமதியாளருக்கு தேவைப்படும் உட்கட்டமைப்பு வசதிகளை கண்டறிந்து மேம்படுத்த நடவடிக்கை மேற்கொள்ளப்படும். மேலும் ஒவ்வொரு மாவட்டத்தின் தனித்துவம் வாய்ந்த பொருட்கள் ஏற்றுமதி செய்ய மாவட்ட அளவிலான ஏற்றுமதி மேம்பாட்டு திட்டம் தயாரிக்கப்படும் என்பதையும் இந்த நேரத்தில் நான் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். எம்எஸ்எம்இ நிறுவனங்கள் பெருந்தொழில்களுக்கு வழங்கிய பொருட்கள் மற்றும் சேவைகளுக்கு உரிய தொகை பெறுவதில் இருக்கிற சிரமங்கள்லாம் உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். அதை தீர்வு செய்வதற்காக சென்னை, திருச்சி, மதுரை, கோயம்புத்தூர் ஆகிய 4 மண்டலங்களில் வசதியாக்க மையங்கள் அமைக்கப்பட்டு நம்முடைய கழக அரசு பொறுப்பேற்றதற்கு பிறகு இம்மன்றங்கள் மூலமாக 430 நிறுவனங்களுக்கு ரூபாய் 84,62,00,000 நிதியை அந்த சிறு நிறுவனங்களுக்கு பெற்றுத் தந்திருக்கிறோம் என்பதையும் இந்த நேரத்தில் நான் மகிழ்ச்சியோடு தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். அதே போலவே எம்எஸ்எம்இ நிறுவனங்களுடைய நடைமுறை மூலதன சிக்கலை தீர்ப்பதற்காக தமிழ்நாடு வர்த்தக வரவுகள் மற்றும் தள்ளுபடி தளம் தமிழ்நாடு ட்ரேட்ஸ் என்னும் புதுமையான திட்டம் நம்முடைய முதல்வர் அவர்களால் துவக்கி வைக்கப்பட்டது. இந்த திட்டத்தின் கீழ் இதுவரை 155க்கும் அதிகமான விலைப்பட்டியல்களுக்கு விற்பனை தொகை வழங்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. இத்திட்டத்தில் மேலும் ஒரு சிறப்பு அம்சமாக இத்தளத்தில் இணைந்துள்ள 14 வங்கிகள் தங்களுடைய கடன் இலக்கை 2120 கோடி அளவிற்கு நிர்ணயித்திருக்கிறார்கள் என்பதையும் நான் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். ஆக இதே போன்று தமிழ்நாடு எம்எஸ்எம் நிறுவனங்கள் வெளிநாடுகளுக்கு ஏற்றுமதி செய்த பொருட்களுக்கான தொகையினை குறித்த காலத்தில் பெறுவதற்கு ஏதுவாக பன்னாட்டு நிதி சேவை மைய அதிகார ஆணையத்தால் அறிமுகப்படுத்தப்பட்டுள்ள பன்னாட்டு வர்த்தக நிதி சேவைகள் தளம் குறித்த விழிப்புணர்வும் ஆலோசனைகளும் இந்த கலந்தாய்வு கூட்டத்திலே வழங்கப்பட உள்ளது என்பதை நான் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். இந்த முயற்சியை முன்னெடுக்கும் முதல் மாநிலமாக இன்றைக்கு தமிழ்நாடு விளங்கி கொண்டிருக்கிறது என்பதை மிகுந்த மகிழ்ச்சியோடு இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியில் நான் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். இந்த ஆலோசனை கூட்டத்தினை நம்முடைய எம்எஸ்எம்இ ஏற்றுமதியாளர்கள் நல்ல முறையில் பயன்படுத்தி பன்னாட்டு வர்த்தக நிதி சேவை தளம் குறித்த விழிப்புணர்வையும் அதனை பயன்படுத்தி கொள்ளும் நடைமுறைகளும் அறிந்து பயன்பெறுமாறு உங்களையெல்லாம் அன்போடு கேட்டு விடைபெறுகிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
சிறப்புரை வழங்கியமைக்கு நன்றி ஐயா. அடுத்ததாக சிறப்பாக பணியாற்றி விருது பெறவிருக்கும் MSCFCயின் செயலர் மற்றும் உறுப்பினர்களுக்கு விருது வழங்கி கௌரவிக்க மாண்புமிகு அமைச்சர் அவர்களை அன்புடன் அழைக்கிறோம். முதலாவதாக விருது பெற சென்னை மண்டல MSCFCயின் செயலர் மற்றும் உறுப்பினர்களை மேடைக்கு அன்புடன் அழைக்கிறோம். அடுத்ததாக விருது பெற கோவை மண்டல MSCFCயின் செயலர் மற்றும் உறுப்பினர்களை மேடைக்கு அன்புடன் அழைக்கிறோம். இறுதியாக விருது பெற மதுரை மண்டல MSCFCயின் செயலர் மற்றும் உறுப்பினர்களை மேடைக்கு அன்புடன் அழைக்கிறோம். விருது வழங்கி கௌரவித்த மாண்புமிகு அமைச்சர் அவர்களுக்கு மிக்க நன்றி. விருது பெற்ற அனைவருக்கும் பாராட்டுக்கள் மற்றும் நன்றிகள். இதனுடன் இனாகரேஷன் செஷன் முடிந்துவிட்டது. அடுத்ததாக பேனல் டிஸ்கஷன் அண்ட் கண்டினியூட் பை RX sales செஷன்.
All are requested to seat in your chairs. All are requested to seat in your chairs. All are requested to seat in your chairs. The next session is going to get started. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. John and team from Business Gateways. They have the 10 years experience facilitating exporters in Oman, and we would like to call upon them to give a short brief on the opportunities, export opportunities in Oman. Requesting Mr. John and team. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John from Business Gateways, a Business Development Manager. So on behalf of our team, Business Gateways, I would like to thank FAME TN for giving us this opportunity to come and invite MSMEs from Tamil Nadu and connect you with the procurement opportunities in Oman. And now we have our team here from Oman who would be giving a live stream on how MSMEs from Tamil Nadu can actually connect directly with the procurement opportunities and major buyers of Oman. So I request my team from Oman to take over. Thank you. I would like to introduce Marwa. Marwa, you can go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, Marwa, we can hear you loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Okay, just I'm sharing my screen.
So while Marwa comes live, I would like to give a brief introduction that we are the implementers of Oman's joint supplier registration system, which is a single window system that connects global suppliers with Oman's major buyers. So
Can you see my
yes,
screen?
not yet, Marwa. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Hari, we need to switch the, yes.
Can you see my screen now?
Not yet, Marwa. So we have our business development head, Mr. Sanjeev Padman. I invite him to take over. Yes, Sanjeev, please go ahead.
Yes, Marwa, you can go ahead. Okay. Thanks, Dr. Okay, I will start. Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister for Micro, Small, Medium Enterprise, Government of Tamil Nadu, respected guests and directory of the event, thank you for giving us opportunities to present Joint Supplier Oman Joint Supplier Registration System. My name is Marwan Mishaifri and Team Leader Support Business Gateways International. I will give you, for example, JSRS, Business Gateways International. It's an ITS company started in 2010 with a project B2B platform, National Business Framework, where the suppliers they can communicate with each others. Then in 2014, we got a project from Ministry of Energy and Mines in Oman, and we implement joint supplier registration system as a procurement system for all oil and gas operators. In 2017, we implement national subsidy system for Oman Citizens Network for POD. And 2019, we implement contract management system under GSRS to monitor the supply chain of all oil and gas operators under Ministry of Energy and Mines in Oman. And this year, we implement Invest on Oman, which is an help guide or helping the investor to start investing in Oman under Ministry of Commerce and Industries. In 2020, we implement same national subsidy system just for electricity. Then in 2021, we implement 2021 which is an standalone e-auction and e-tendering events system, where all the you can conduct the supply or the company, they can conduct the event. And we launched into a 2023 ROP system, which is an industrial organization system. This is a study we do it from open domain to give you overall information about opportunities in Oman based on from 2016 to 2022. So the project status, as you see, video evaluation in 2021 there is 2,375,000, and in the stage of complete 1,240,000, and this nine process 3,920,000, and overall, and also we have in the study 101 billion under study. As I mentioned, this is open studies doing. And under Ministry of Energy and Mines, the opportunity sector under Ministry of Energy and Mines, as the source of this slide, it's Ministry of Energy and Mines presentations. The sectors and inside this, first, all the specialist sectors, which is related to the oil and gas. You can see wellhead, well services, rig hires, feeds, and assessment services. Direct also sectors, which is environmental services, construction, infill services, and inspection, and all that. Also, there's a last one, which is indirect services or indirect sector, emergency services, IT services, securities, management, and all. GSRS, it's a joint supply registration system under initiative of Ministry of Energy and Mines in Oman, which is under country content initiatives. The of this project is oil and gas operators. We got award in 2013 and we go live in 2014. The objective of this project is single windows connecting the supply with oil and gas operators. Now, when the journey of the GSRS starts? The journey of the GSRS starts with the challenges from the buyers and the suppliers. The challenges comes from the buyers to identify the suppliers or sourcing the suppliers through the market. And the point supplier in, they face difficulty to do separate registration for each and every entity, BDO, OQ, and each and every operators in Oman. So solution-wise, the joint supply registration system connecting the supplier with all oil and gas operators. The buyer, they can searching or sourcing in one platform, and the supplier also they can register one time and connect with all oil and gas operators. Since we get award from 2014, we have two mandates from the ministry. First mandate for the awarding process, where the operator, they have a mandate from ministry. They cannot award to, they need to award just for GSR certified companies. And in 2021, we got another mandate from ministry for participation in a bid, where the supplier should have holding valid GSR certificate to participate in a bid. This is the list of the GSRS operators or buyers. We have two groups, oil and gas operator, which is under ministry, and other industry, they come by themselves. They are interested to sorting the suppliers through the GSRs. As you see here, there is a letter from India Embassy, where they're inviting all the association to participate in the GSRS systems. And we can review for you the list of the company, partial list of Indian company registered and certified in the GSRS system. This is the GSRS certificate. Where in the GSRS certificate, the supplier should go through the validation process, where we validate the supplier and obtain the GSRS certificate. It will be including unique code, which is supplier code, unique code for each and every entity or a company, registration validity, and all that. This is the supply. We in 2030 as a JSRS, we are focusing in some sectors and we are welcoming all the company and under this sector to register in the JSRS, which is under oil and gas, electrical and electronic technologies, power energy, constructions, financial, legal, education and training, healthcare. Now, your opportunity as an Indian company or Indian suppliers, or any international supplier, they have two routes of the opportunity. The first route, which is direct route, and it's active, where you can obtain the GSR certificate and directly get connect with the oil and gas operators and buyers. The second route, which is relationship, where you can make relationship with the Omani company and get opportunities from the country content inside Oman. Thank you for your time. And if you have any question related to JSRS, me and my team will be available there. And you can get get clear idea about the JSRS and business gateways.
Excellent presentation. So, on the better interest of time, I'd like to wrap up that through a single window, we invite MSMEs of Tamil Nadu to connect directly with the procurement opportunities in Oman, and we are here to support you in that. And we'd like to thank FAME TN for giving us this opportunity to present Oman to you. Thank you so much. Good day.
Thank you, sir. This is such an influential message. This might help for the exporters to take up your business, export business in the Oman. So now, on this occasion, let us take an opportunity to have a session by RXL Global International Finance Services Center Limited on ITFS platform. Now, the stage is yours. I would like to call upon Mr. Indrajit Samanta to take lead.
Good evening to all the dignitaries present here. I would like to invite first Mr. Raj Khosa. He is a senior officer and representative from the IFSCA, which is the regulator for ITFS platform. He has a long professional experience of more than 25 years in the banking industry, and he has started his journey with State Bank of India into different roles, and then he was the head of operations and trade finance at Barclays Bank. Thereafter, he was the country head, China, and chief executive officer with Axis Bank, Shanghai branch. Thereafter, he was the CEO at Axis Bank International Financial Unit at IFSC. And he is currently associated with IFSCA, and he is the face of the regulator for us. I would like to invite Khosa sir to say a few words on how IFSCA and ITFS can boost the MSME exports and export financing opportunities from India and specifically from Tamil Nadu. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Raj Khosa. I'm working as senior consultant with International Financial Service Center and Coordinator. It's my pleasure to attend today's event. I will share in brief on ITFS platform enabled by ITSA for facilitating cross-border trade finance. SMEs are one of the key drivers only 16% of bank lines go to the SME sector. We studied SME sector in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Philippines, Indonesia, and found situation of SMEs with respect to bank credit was similar to India. Keeping this in mind, and in order to enable SME exporters, importers to have easy access to the foreign currency of their choice from multiple financiers across globe and discovery of price by competitive bidding, concept of ITFS came in place. IPSCA issued framework for operating ITFS and IFSC in July 2021. ITFS platform framework was created to enable following to exporters and importers. First, multiple financiers across globe at one place for financing, discovery of price by participants by transparent bidding mechanism, currency of choice, a digital journey of financing, credit enhancing agencies like import factors and insurance companies as part of the platform, arranging finance for all products of trade finance, option for with or without recourse financing. ITFS is regulated platform that brings exporters, importers, financiers, and credit enhancement institutes at one platform to facilitate trade transactions and discovery of pricing. SMEs will be able to achieve very competitive prices by bidding by multiple financiers for their transactions on ITFS platform. Finance will mostly take credit call on buyers of products and services, so funding will be non-recourse basis to exporters. SMEs can arrange funding by enhancement of credit by insurance, import factors that has been enabled on the platform for their open account transactions. Presently, the products which we have enabled on ITFS are export financing with recourse, export factoring without recourse, reverse factoring, purchase order, pre-shipment finance, buyer's credit, import financing, supply chain financing solutions, forfeiting transactions, documentary credit, guarantees, structured trade finance, and credit enhanced by insurance companies and import factors. IPSCA has granted license to 4 entities, including RXL, for operating of ITFS platform in IFSC. Said entities are undergoing sandbox stage operations of live transactions, and we are expecting very soon these entities will be starting the commercial transactions on the ITFS platform. The benefits for exporters on ITFS platform will be easy, fast finance for receivables at competitive rates without recourse financing, currency of choice, or balance sheet finance, minimum and simple documentation, risks on buyers, receipt of funds within 48 hours from acceptance of bids offers. For financiers, the benefits will be opportunity to build quality asset portfolio in international space, reduce operational cost along with improved reach to beach, build clienteles, ease of operation with minimum documentation, facility to make better decisions making through key information availability on platform. For importers, this will be optimizing working capital, saving on financial cost by extending credit period, not a borrowing but replacement of sundry creditors, improved vendor management, lower administrative costs for vendor financing, payments, and settlements. ITFS is a first initiative from any regulator for cross-border transactions, and we are, as a regulator, we are very bullish that India's 30 to 40% of international trade will converge in next 5 years on this platform. Thank you.
So we are trying to upload the presentation, and once it is there, I'll start. So good evening.
I would like to call upon all the panelists for a panel discussion on the International Trade Financing Services ITFS platform. I would like to call upon our Honorable Industries Commissioner and Director of Industries and Commerce, Tirumati Siji Thomas Vaidyan, IAS, to come on to the dais. Please, ma'am. I would like to call upon Tirumati Rajalakshmi Devaraj, IADS, Additional DGFT, ma'am, to come on to the dais. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to call upon Habib Hussain, Regional Chairman, FIO, to come on to the dais. Please, sir. I would like to call upon Ketan Gaikwad, Managing Director, CEO, Receivables Exchange of India Limited, to be on the dais. Thank you, sir, ma'am. Let us go ahead with the session.
Yes. So before the start of the session, I would like to show a few slides, maybe very quickly, on the ITFS platform, maybe continuing from where Khosa sir has left, and then we can start the panel discussion. So ITFS platform is under the regulation of IFSCA. IFSCA is a unified regulator in GIFT City, and ITFS platform is one of the key initiatives that will enable all the exporters from India towards India's growth story towards $1 trillion of exports and beyond. Next slide. Yes. So ITFS platform is set up in GIFT City in the IFSC, which is International Financial Service Center. It is a special economic zone, and it's at par with all the global financial centers like Dubai, Hong Kong, and London. And it has the robust infrastructure and all the unique requirements to mature into a global financial center. And ITFS is one of the key initiatives towards that. I'll typically explain what are the features in the platform. So very similar to trades, where we see the seller and the buyer participating on the platform along with the financier, wherein the MSMEs get opportunity to have competitive rates of financing for their invoices. In a very similar way, the ITFS platform also brings in the opportunity to get without recourse financing, off the balance sheet financing based on the credibility of the transaction and the importer. So the platform will connect exporters, importers, financiers from across the globe, as well as credit protection agencies like insurance and import factors, to bring in the transaction on the platform, providing insurance or credit protection against the insolvency or the protracted default of the buyer, and also providing competitive rates for the exporters and the MSMEs to undertake open account transactions. We can see in this presentation that all the different participants are there, and then the transaction starts typically with the upload of export documents on the platform in the form of soft copy, whereas the actual hard copy documents move with the authorized dealer banks from the exporter to the exporter's bank to the importer's bank and finally to the importer. Once that is done, then the financier bids on the platform with respect to what is the prepayment or the financing percentage and the rate, and whatever is the best suited rate gets accepted, and the MSME or the exporter has a chance to accept the lowest rate and the best form of financing. And thereafter, through a collection mechanism, the financier on ITFS can collect the payment or the repayment directly from the buyer. So here, it is a chance or an opportunity for the exporter to have access to liquidity at a very competitive cost. Next slide. Yes, I have explained all this. If you can just run through all the steps and move to the next slide. Yes, the benefit for the exporters are faster processing. It's a digital infrastructure that we have created, leveraging all the available infrastructure with respect to electronic bill of lading. We have provision for vessel tracking. We bring in the entire KYC, AML, CFT due diligence for the counterparties. We manage the risks like the counterparty risk, the political risk, and we bring in all the perspective for the financier to do a quick decisioning on the platform. Next slide, please. For the importers, it's also a seamless journey. There is price discovery. There is extended payment terms available, which ensures a better buyer-supplier relationship on the platform. Next slide, please. For the financiers, they can have easy access to a range of products and credible transactions and credible portfolio and seamless connectivity with their core banking that the platform offers. Next slide. So this is the approach of the ITFS platform to enable the financier to do a quick decisioning. So the platform brings in credit protection from different agencies like import factor, credit insurance. So at RXIL, we have partnered with Factors Chain International, which is a group with more than 400 network of global banks and factors who provide comfort or a insurance or a credit protection on offshore importers, through which the financiers will be able to finance open account transactions. We can do factoring. So we bring in the KYC AML process, we bring in buyer credit information bureau information, we bring in verification of PO and invoices, we bring in deduplication checks, we bring in the entire due diligence and sales ledger analysis of the trade transaction, we bring in vessel tracking, and also it offers collection mechanism. So these are the host of services that ITFS provides, and we will see in the panel discussion what is the future for ITFS and how it can shape the entire MSME opportunity to grow. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Indrajit. That was a wonderful presentation, and actually it throws the makes a clarity of what exactly is the ITFS platform. So before I take on to the panel, the panel is a powerful panel. So I'll talk something about trade finance in India. So India has witnessed a steady growth in exports over the last few years. In FY22, India contributed 5% of global trade. 422 billion was the exports, and 613 billion was the imports over here. Exports have been considered to be an important pillar for the growth of the economy. So when you talk about a $5 trillion economy, the thought process that it should be having $1 trillion towards exports, and that's what the government of India is doing in terms of Make in India, PLI schemes, and many things. And 40% of India's exports come from MSME. So MSME constitute a larger part, and as Mr. Khosa said very clearly that MSMEs, though they constitute the larger part of the economy, they don't get the financing at the competitive rate which the corporates are getting. And there is a report which talks about the Indian exports, the Asian exports and the Indian exports especially. Standard Chartered has come out with that report, which says very clearly, global exports will almost double from 17.4 trillion to $29.7 trillion in the next decade. And India will be the key driver. So this is the next 5 years are going to be the driver for India's growth, and along with India, India is supposed to be driving the Asian economy, especially in terms of growth. So India's export growth is supposed to be 7.6%. And one more important part of the survey was 38% of the global corporate community currently do or plan to manufacture or source from India for the next decade. And when you talk about trade finance, it is all about open account solutions or letter of credit or everything. But open account has been considered. There is more focus towards open account, wherein the exporters are moving towards open account now. And that's where the platform like ITFS, when you talk about open account, is setting the documents and collection and getting the payments on that side. So you do not have the letters of credit or the SBLCs underlying over there. So with that background in mind, I have certain questions. I have a great panel over here. So I have Mr. Raj Khosa also from IFSCA, and I have Madam Raj Lakshmi and Mr. Sen over there. So yeah, so Madam, the very important question for Tamil Nadu, and Tamil Nadu constitutes 9% of India's exports, and and it's a great thing that it was a third and it has displaced Maharashtra, I think, right? So, so considering that Tamil Nadu is one of the key contributors towards country's exports, and with the ITFS platform being set up in the GIFT City, what do you think are the next steps we should be working together towards exports and MSMEs, exporters and MSMEs in the state, so that the MSMEs can get the maximum benefit out of the ITFS platform or out of the export financing platforms which are coming up?
Thank you for this question. I think I have some 4 or 5 questions which I myself would like to ask about the platform. But then I reserve it because the same questions might be coming in from the audience. So I'll make my answer very brief. We have been working with trends. So our experience of trends has been very, very positive. We have innovated on trends also. So the bankers here might be aware that in respect of the limits that the banks have declared in front of the Honorable CM of Tamil Nadu, 2,120 crores, we are working very intensively with our PSUs so that we reach that target. The banker friends are being requested in the SLBC and all to free their individual invoice limit as well as their total limit be flexible, etc., so as to help us. So I just stated this so to show that how proactive Tamil Nadu is when we are committed into something. And at this point, I would like to assure our banker friends that everybody has this question: how much will Tyco backstop? How much are our limits safe on trades? So I would like to say that Tyco Bank will backstop straight away for 100 crores per entity, per PSU. And beyond that, whatever bills are coming per PSU, we are working for escrow arrangements with Tyco by the PSU. So for all practical purposes, whatever is coming on TN Trades platform, the only thing you have to check is it coming on TN Trades? If it is TN Trades, there is Tyco backstopping, you need not worry. So our approach to the IFSC platform, ITFS platform also would be on a similar lines. Right now, we are learning. There are so many questions in the mind. But once we are confident of the entire system, we would be very proactively engaging with our MSMEs to see how each MSME exporter or even aspiring exporter can take benefit of this. And the export cycles can increase. If you are doing 1 cycle now or 3 cycles now, we would like to use this platform to bring it to +1 every year so that your working capital does not get stuck because your export payments are delayed. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. It's a wonderful, so why, you would ask that why did we start the roadshow, and I did mention about it because this is one state I found that, they are very keen on adopting the digitization. And this is one state where we've thought that, if we take this idea with madam and the department over here, they picked it up. They said, yeah, this is fantastic platform and this is something which we want to do for MSMEs. And what better to, do it, because if everything is getting digitized, the cycle is getting reduced and you're adding more cycles. So that is the whole advantage. And at the same time, you have a non-recourse payment to the exporters. So that is the wonderful idea with which madam has picked it up. Yeah, so my question to Mr. Raj Khosa is that there has been a lot of ongoing action. We have been following IFSC very closely because we are a part of the family over there. So be it in terms of collaboration of IFSCA with offshore regulators. So we see a lot of road shows happening even on the international front, where IFSCA people are going across and meeting the regulators, and they're saying what kind of collaboration they can do, and what are the best practices can come into India. So India becomes a very relevant financing center, which is at par, or at times the aim is much more bigger, because you've seen the success of UPI also. That, and in terms of digitization, you know that very well, that India is much, much ahead of in the global arena. And that has been showcased very clearly in the G20 also. That, when you talk about financial inclusion, India is much, much miles ahead in terms of digital things. So when we are talking about IFSC is meeting up with a lot of offshore regulators, and we see increasing participation of the global banks also, insurance companies, and many things are happening. So how do you foresee IFSC developing in the years to come, with the ecosystem gradually maturing, and maturing with time, and what role does you think that IFSC ITFS player will play in that, and what is the expectation from ITFS? I did see some answers when he was answering the question, in fact, when he was addressing it, but I would love to see a more elaborate answer from Mr. Raj.
Take 1 minute to start with the background of IFSC. So IFSC was vision of Honorable Prime Minister and dates back to 2003-2004. Then he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. IFSC became reality when different sectoral regulators, RBI, SEBI, IRDA issued regulations in 2015 for IFSC. IPSCA Act was passed in October 2019 and IPSCA started operating from October 22 as unified regulator in IFSC, having powers of RBI, SEBI, IRDA and PFRDA. Mandate of IPSCA is development and regulation of financial products, financial services and financial institutions in the international financial service center in India. IPSCA since then benchmarked the regulations internationally for the core financial regulations. IPSCA aims to first onshore all the India-related offshore businesses, and there is a long way to go there. Here on, IPSCA aims to act as efficient bridge for global capital with domestic demand. This will require quite a bit of innovation on regulatory front and beyond, but our simultaneous goal is to make this a regional and then global financial center. However, IPSCA is not only working as a pursued financial regulator, we are looking at overall ecosystem. If you would have noticed, the university regulations, ancillary framework, fintech framework, GIC regulations, these are typically not financial activities, but IPSCA is enabling these innovations in IFSC as the same is required for the zone to compete with full stock global financial centers such as Singapore. In 5 years, I expect IFSC to become not only a financial center with core financial vertical servicing the region beyond India. We think the zone will be more of a financial city jurisdiction with presence of global universities exporting talent globally, GICs employing thousands of youths, ancillary ecosystem exporting support service globally, and obviously full-fledged financial ecosystem across banking, insurance, capital markets, etc. Talking about IFSC and ITFS, India has about 80 billion US dollar open account trade transactions annually, and we expect more than 50% of said transactions will be handled by ITFS platforms in 5 years down the line. Secondly, all trade corridors which originate from Asian countries like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, etc. will get converged on this platform. As regulator, we are very bullish on ITFS, and we believe ITFS will become global UPI for international trade in next few years. Today's road show and the earlier road shows which we have been conducting across the country, and we are planning to do the road shows in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Philippines, Indonesia, to make sure that global audience is aware of this platform and they are able to take the advantage of this platform.
Elaborate on some of the key roles that DGFT is playing in order to promote and empower the MSMEs to conduct the business with ease and with confidence, especially with respect to grievance redressal, disputes with counterparty, and the risks involved. And how is DGFT is enabling enterprises? These are two questions, pardon me for that. How DGFT is enabling enterprises to leverage the digital infrastructure to make foreign trade paperless, seamless, and secure.
Thank you. As most of you will be aware, DGFT is responsible for the foreign trade policy. We are running the 1520 policy, which has been extended to this financial year. And one of the most important thing for any exporter is the importer-exporter code. And this IEC code, which is your identity as an importer or exporter, is given by DGFT portal. And it is on the portal. You just apply online, and if you have your PAN or your company's PAN, it is an automatic process. There's no, it's a digital, it's completely digital. There's nobody coming in between and approving or anything. So once any MSME, if they want to become an importer-exporter, so getting this IEC code will enable you for all the future thing. I'm talking about a new importer-exporter. After that, after you get the IEC code from the DGFT, we have a few schemes which help the exporter and importer. We have a scheme called EPCG. Those who have attended in the morning would have had a complete idea about the schemes. EPCG is for if you want to have capital goods imported without customs duty and use it for your production and export the goods. Based on, so this scheme allows you to import capital goods for using it for your production purposes and then exporting the goods. Then we have one more scheme where you can get the raw material that is import free. Without customs duty, you can import the raw materials and export the goods. So that's called an advance duty-free import authorization. So we have some schemes which we give, which is for all exporters. But now that it is all made online, like from 21, even the schemes, you can apply online. So it's all digitally connected. In fact, when it comes to grievances, I'll be very happy to tell you that from 2020, November 2020, the entire grievance for the whole southern zone, which is put on the portal in the embassies and everything with reference to either you're not getting a payment, an exporter would not have got payment, or an importer would have quality complaints. All put together, there were only around 16 complaints for the whole southern zone. And in that, Tamil Nadu was only 6 of them. And in that 6, we had around 3 complaints where the importer did not pay. That is very important. And here, if you see, thankfully, 2 of them had a ECGC coverage, export credit guarantee coverage. So they had received the discount. This exchange will enable those kinds of problems. So we do have a grievance redressal mechanism. It's pretty active at this point of time because in the last 1 month, I know there are at least 2 more complaints which have been lodged. But the grievance redressal happens every quarter. And it's a committee system. We sit together. We take up with the embassies also when there are problems. So this is the dispute redressal mechanism which DGFT is following, and it's portal-based again. And when it comes to how digitally we can, infrastructure can be leveraged, you see, the whole system is now being, earlier shipping bills were coming manually, all those were all manual. Since 2021, 1st December 2021, both the licenses, what you are taking are all digital, and if you ship using the license number, they get automatically transmitted from the iSgate portal to the DGFT portal. So even your redemption and closure, everything will be manual. And that also helps now exporters, they have something called status house, where if they do good exports, you have 1-star status house too, which you can help, it enables you to, from the customs side, to get your goods cleared without bank guarantee. Even that is digital now. So we have gone a long way from the good old days, and it has become, and we hope that we can connect so that, it will become seamless together. Because this is what I could understand about this exchange is more to discount your thing and factor your bills, which is very good because, it can free up a lot of capital. Even the schemes which we are talking about when we say EPCG and advance authorization and these kinds of schemes is basically to not tie up your capital in customs duty and those kinds of things. That's why these schemes are there. And for you to enable to do your exports more. So I'm sure this exchange is going to help. And thank you.
So, Madam, just a very interesting question that are we adopting the e-bill also, electronic bill of lading also, or there is a government thinking about adopting the electronic bill of lading? Is it under the Gati Shakti or the NLP program or anything like that?
Yeah, it's on the radar, that e-bill thing. Once the logistic infrastructure is connected, yes, that should work.
Yeah, so when I talk about it, when I talk to many people, it's when you look at it from the bird's eye view, that you feel that there are many things which are happening in India, that when you look at it, these are all Lego pieces which you see from the top. There are a lot of things. If these things come together, it will be a great picture which we'll see. So that you talk about Make in India, PLI scheme, NLP, the logistics and the infrastructure which is going on, and the customs which is going on. I think maybe I'll ask him also a little bit more, and then we'll go to the question answer session. But sir, can you talk about the different schemes, initiatives which need to be taken by the government to promote export orientation, market access and competitiveness to achieve the goal of $1 trillion? It's a big goal which you're looking at, and every time when you're a patriotic guy, you think about, look, there is always the thing about China plus one. So what is it that the powers to be that need to do to ensure that we achieve that goal of $1 trillion and maybe $2 trillion by 2030? And how ITFS can play a role over there?
I think first of all, these are extremely exciting times, getting more exciting every day. And the nice thing is that our government, both at the state and at the center, seems to be ahead of industry in many ways, in being proactive and looking and addressing these headwinds. We not only look at the headwinds as an opportunity, we are flying above that and thinking right. First of all, thinking positive. We were used to punch way below our weight. Now we started punching equally with eyeball to eyeball, and we're thinking positive and punching above our weight also sometimes, which we should, because we are looking at what we really should be and what we can be, and creating the infrastructure and everything in advance to be that. You see, so these targets are based on old paradigms. A lot of these targets are old paradigms. If we could, think this digitization is a whole new ballgame. So it can make an SME manufacturer, competitive in a global stage. And the opportunity is there. It needs vision, a thought process, and a belief in yourself, and a belief in going ahead from the industry side. There's plenty of things, that the government has to do, and I don't. Earlier on, it used to be like a kind of a wish list or a complaint list that exporters used to come with open sessions and all like this. I don't want to be repetitive on that. I think there is as much that we have to do, as the government will be doing. But overall, we are growing at a healthy rate at this stage. I think the potential to grow is geometrically more. It's like a geometric progression. But it is in every sector. And in the MSME sector, we have been punching way below our weight, just because it's not only finance, it's many, many things. You see, this thinking at the state and all the silos that we were in, they've all been broken down. We are looking across and making these different departments of the government function together. It's a joy. It's really a joy. I've been doing this for many years now and representing industry on behalf of the government. And I see this, I wish I was a lot younger, because there is a great future ahead, And silos are being broken down in the state. The silos have been broken down state. In the center also the same thing is happening. And I don't envisage. There are major investments coming in the logistics area, trade financing. I think this platform is great, but the risk analysis and the risk thing, ultimately it comes to you know, the confidence the banker has. And I think governments of the day giving that kind of confidence to them and perhaps even twisting their arms to get the funds available to the small export. Because he's been, the MSME exporter has been a neglected person in some ways. A lot of talk is, you know, lip service is given, but it's, you know, on the ground reality, ultimately it's risk and risk averseness that plays the thing here. But this platform is not a step too soon. This is the right thing at the right time. I remember a few years ago, two MBA students, Indian origin students from France, from one of the premier institutes in France, I'm not getting the name, they came up with this idea of this platform. And at that time, it was way ahead of its time. But now it's a brilliant thing that comes. And its aggressiveness and how successful you all make it out to be will help in India's exports going at a tremendous pace. I am very optimistic in every way. I'd be happy to take any specific questions on it.
Yeah, so fantastic. So, you know, newfound confidence, you know, punching much below above your weight. And that's the thing, because today, when you look at the way India is progressing and the way the confidence has come out, you know, and you talk about the digitization also, that, you know, look, India is way, way ahead of the digitization. When you talk about the financial, and the digitization is not about at a very superficial level, but it's gone to the deep root, and it's financial inclusion. So that's why that the idea is about that the trades has become successful. ITFS also can become successful. And what we have seen is, you know, the regulator, the IFSC is also playing a major role, where the international factoring companies are coming to India now. You know, there was a roadshow just 1 week back in Ahmedabad, where the roadshow, where the FCI, Factors Chain International, is coming with 400, you know, companies, 400 banks on the other side. So just to give a brief about how the ITFS platform works, is, you know, let's say you have an exporter in Tirupur and who is exporting to, let's say, Walmart or JCPenney in London. So what he does is he does the exports, he does the logistics part about shipping bill and all that, and he just uploads his document from his room or from his office to the ITFS platform. You know, so in the meantime, what he does is when he gets the order, he comes to the platform and says, look, I've got an order for $5 million or $10 million. Then the ITFS platform goes to the FCI or already has that importer on the platform altogether, or it goes to the FCI. Now, FCI is a conglomeration of 400, 500 bankers who are the import factors. When you talk about import factors, these are the people who are ready to take the risk on the buyer on the other side. Now, buyer, why do you need to take a risk? Because it's an international country, it's another country altogether. So now when the exporter comes to us in Tirupur and says, look, I have got an order from JCPenney, so then the platform, the IFSC platform, ITFS platform will go and, you know, send a message to the FCI. Now there will be a Wells Fargo bank sitting in London or New York. He says, okay, I have got limits of $10 million on FCI, on JCPenney, and they will give the $10 million, but obviously it will come at a cost. So then that $10 million limit will come on the platform, and now when the exporter starts exporting, now what will happen is the exporter will upload his documents on the platform. The documents will come in, they will get financed, and then the Wells Fargo on the other side will collect the money also from the buyer. So that is how it is going to be easy over here, and it's without recourse. So some margin will be kept for performance related issues, all that, but obviously, and all the things we look at also at DGFT to see how we can get the data. You know, today data is the oil, so how we can get the data from the exporter, whether he's really an exporter, what kind of history he's got, what kind of rejections he's got. So all this data today can be available from the shipping bill and all that. So this is how it works. So I will, you know, maybe give an opportunity to Madam. She has a lot of questions, so she can ask one question and then maybe we can open it to the...
First open it, probably they'll themselves ask. I think bankers would have questions.
Yeah.
Pass the mic around.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. No, this is to DGFT. We export I mean, we supply the parts to the customers. Of course, auto components are being supplied to the customers. Those parts are being, again, in turn exported to various countries. But we are getting the payment only in INR. Can this be treated as an export or deemed export or whatever it is? Because almost 40% of the parts what we are supplying are being exported, but only we are getting the payment in INR.
If you're supplying to a 100% export-oriented unit, then it will be treated as deemed exports. But if it is, if they don't have that certificate called 100% export-oriented unit, and they are doing demand, no, it will not be counted as exports. Exports in INR is accepted, but if it is to a 100% export-oriented unit. Yeah.
Thank you. One more thing is, can we get the data about the importers and exporters, from DGFT or wherever it's possible to the various countries?
You see, the importers, exporters data especially is sensitive. Okay, so it's need to know basis. Even DGFT cannot access that data. Okay, so but importers, yes, we are. Look, if you are going through agencies like EIA and all of them, and if you are going through these standards, they already have a database about good importers and bad importers and all that. So from the risk perspective can be handled that way. Presently, that's the thing. Once these kinds of exchanges come into play, then it will be a little more robust in handling these things.
I can add over here. So when you have this digital platform, so we are tying up with various agencies. So today, when you want to know about the importer, you have a dead end basket report, if I'm not wrong. So, it gives the payment index of that particular importer on the other side, how many times is defaulted. So all those things get mapped on the other side. But today also, when we are looking at the importer on the other side, we will be tying up, or we are already in the process of tying up with agencies which can tell us about the importer on the other side. And that's how the risk will be taken by the bankers also on that particular entity. Because if you're exporting, but if the buyer on the other side is not a credit-worthy customer, you should not export to. Neither the bank will come and finance. That's how it is.
Okay, thank you so much.
Is there a minimum limit for the discounting? What is the limit, minimum limit?
On the platform?
Platform.
So today when we are doing the sandbox testing, so there is no minimum limit over there. So very clearly it can be even a $1,000 bill also, XC invoice. But even today you will not be doing any export financing for even $100 or anything. But if you look at threads, we do the financing even for 100 rupees invoice also. But when you come to the platform, it is anything. Because today when we are planning to do sandbox testing, we are trying to do it with smaller values, larger volumes, to see how it works.
Yeah, then only it will be easier for the MSME.
Correct. So we are not looking at large value transactions to start with. So, and when we are looking at that also perspective, that we are looking at the medium and the micro and the small customers who are exporters to come on the platform. So obviously the ticket size will be smaller.
Thank you.
One thing I would like to ask. Say for bill discounting is happening.
It's okay. Good evening. I just would, sorry, somebody is asking?
No, you can ask, maybe we can pass on the mic.
Okay. How does this platform factor the countries where we have line of credit government to government? Is there any?
As of now, nothing is being worked on that, but we will be tying up. So, on our platform, we also have Exim Bank, which is tied up with us. So, in that cases, wherever it is not the capital exports, but it's the, the operational exports or whatever it is there where we expect that the Exim Bank lines will help over there. But normally, when you have the lines which are set up by the Exim Bank under the bilateral arrangement, the process is a little bit different. Where they expect that the exporter, it has to be lodged with Exim Bank. Once the Exim Bank has given the clearance, then only you can go and do the discounting.
One question to Madam, DGFT. Madam, we have the statistics. I organize exhibitions outside the country. We try to gather the statistics of the importing of this thing. How reliable is the trade map data and other thing, Because in the absence of any global data, how reliable is that compilation of the trade map data? Atlas, trade atlas, another thing.
You see, most of these data is prepared using the shipping data, shipping bill data. Okay, so like even with DGFT, we don't have the 100% of the shipping bill data with us. That's why I said it's a very sensitive thing. This whole concept of trade and trade data, the exporters' data is very, very sensitive. It's on a need-to-know basis. When I say DGFT has shipping bill data, it's only people who lies with us, who have taken a license, who have taken some benefit from DGFT. Only those shipping bills will come to us. So what we are all talking about, and so is any portal, because it's on a need-to-know basis, and complete 100% accuracy will not be placed on the thing, because it has other ramifications, especially on the finance side. So I'm from the finance background, so I understand exactly what the ramifications will be also. So when so what happens is, you can say that everything has it's a sample. We know whether the trade is increasing or it is decreasing from that sample itself. We know certain countries are in trouble because some political risk or some risk. Because if you have so much of shipping which has happened to that thing, and we have around at least 3 or 4 exports getting into trouble, there's some problem over there. So from the sample we can it tends you to a particular information, but I will not say it is 100% accurate. So I hope I've answered the question.
Thank you for the clarity. It basically gives a trend and the gap.
Yes.
That's all. Thank
Yes,
you.
it gives a trend. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Just a second, we'll pass the mic to you. First, we'll take a question from SLBC convener.
Just one question I would like to make, that here the margins available to the bankers are very, very fine when we are doing all the things. But if any trade comes into the dispute and all this, how the risk perception of the banker is taken care of?
See, that's why the data, the past data also comes and help over there. That, look, when we look at the exporter also, we'll be doing a due diligence on the exporter also at the same time. But when we have the credit risk rating agency on the other side, which is taking the risk. So it is not about you taking a risk unilaterally on the importer on the other side. There is a banker on the other side, or the import factoring company on the other side, which is taking the risk. So now your risk from taking the risk on the importer, it becomes a bank-to-bank risk. So that is the risk which you are carrying. I would say that way.
That is fine. Thank you.
Sir, good evening. My question is also on bank's perspective only. So as you said, similar to trades, so the invoice will come to the bidding platform, and most of the buyers or sellers may not be the customers of the bank which is going to win the bid. As an open account transactions, there are a lot of regulations. Currently, what happens, exporter sends the goods to him other country, and he gets the payment. So there is a shipping bill which is involved, EDPMS has to be closed. Here, once bidding financier funds the payment to the exporter, so on the due date, financier will get the payment, right? So how will the real exporter and his bank knows that the transaction is already over, and the shipping bill has to be closed in the EDPMS, EBRC has to be issued? Is there any communication?
So this is a non-recourse financing which is going to happen on the platform. So there are two concepts over here, that you have with recourse financing also, and it is a non-recourse financing also. When it is a non-recourse, it's cash. So that point of time, the exporters, the exporter will give an option that, you credit this particular bank. So as what he pointed out correctly, the documents will move through the authorized dealer. Now the documents EDPMS has to be closed by the authorized dealer. Now authorized dealer will close it when he gets the export proceeds. The export proceeds, when it is non-recourse factoring, regulation allows you to close the bills. So that's the time when you'll close it. And the next step is when the financier, which has done the financing, should receive the money. So that is what it is.
One more question. So again, this conversion. Okay. So invoice will be raised in foreign currency only.
The remittance also will happen in the foreign currency only.
So the remittance also will happen in the foreign currency. So that means
because see, you should treat The IFSC is a different jurisdiction. The ITFS is functioning out of a different jurisdiction, a gift city. So it is something like, you are sending the documents to Singapore to get it financed. That's it.
Okay, so that means currently AD1 banks are authorized to do these transactions, right? So this international trade finance platform also is applicable to AD1 only, right? So AD2 cannot participate in this.
They are working on how they can come as financiers over there. So as of now, 81 banks. At the same time, there will be international banks also who can come and do the financing over there. 83 also.
Finance transaction or the foreign currency transaction as approved by RBI will be allowed to operate on that. Now this is only from the India perspective. We are limiting ourselves from the India perspective. But when we look at it from the global perspective, tomorrow if your export is to US, say from some big company, big MNC, Wells Fargo Bank from US can actually bid for your invoice, purchase the receivable without request, pay you, then you are out of the show, and then Wells Fargo will actually record the payment from that buyer. Now if you really got I will extend that logic. Now what's happening in many geographies, there are global supply chain programs. Now the problem with major big global supply chain program, like we used to in MNC banks, who has to open, there will be MNC will launch a RFP for global SCF program. So one bank, say for example, just for the sake of name, Citibank will cover the supply chain program of 3, 4 or 5 countries of that particular this thing. Now the problem is that there is a different mindset in the global market. Now what is happening that all the vendors, suppliers from different countries are looking at that as if they are getting stuck to one bank. So they are looking at different options. They are looking at different banks, because if you decide with one particular MNC bank or X bank, their charges are decided. Say for example, SOFR plus 200 basis points. Now when you get into the platform, all these vendors can come on the platform. That invoice will be open for the bid for all the banks globally. So now earlier it was only one bank.
Market pricing.
It is a market pricing you're doing, and this is where the exporters are going to get a benefit. So there will be 2 banks. I'm sure you must have actually looked at it in domestic marketing trades. You will get exporters will get benefit of the open global market. So we are not limiting ourselves from the India perspective. It is a global platform.
So that is a motto. That look when the ITFS platform has been conceptualized, it is very clear that the exporters should get the benefit at international competitive rates. So that is the whole thing, that you should be doing it at a competitive rate. The exporter should get the benefit out of it.
Hello, sir. Sir, this question now regarding that. So the conservative collection mechanism and the LC, the letter of credit, is there that portion will get it in a do away after this implementation of the ITFS, or this ITFS only for the financial facilities, and they will do only the financing portion and the collection will be taken care by the banking institution?
See, the LCs and guarantees and SBLCs are a mechanism. So when you look at the hierarchy of the transaction, whenever the exporter starts, he doesn't know the international buyer on the other side. He will demand export advance. Then the next step is that I should get a LC. And the third part is after 3-4 years, where he has become very comfortable. Now he says, I'll move on to an open account. So that is where it is. So when you start open account, it is very beneficial to the buyer also, as well as the supplier also. When the regular supplies are happening, there is no need of an LC. And that's where we are saying, when there is no open account, when there is an open account transaction, you also need the financing immediately. Because when the exporter does the financing, he cannot go to his bank and which has given him the limits, working capital limits against his mortgaged property and other things. Here is a financing mechanism which is without recourse. So the banks will only do the collection from the other side. They'll get the collection over here, and the Indian bank over here will close the export bills over here.
So ultimately, the EDPMS and balance of payment cycles will be taken care by the banking system only.
AD bank, yeah. So that will not replace. That has to continue, because that's where the BOP position will be known to the country, isn't it?
Correct. Okay, thank you.
Sir, my question is to Mr. Ketan. This is regarding export factoring without recourse. So in domestic factoring, we create limit on the buyer if it is a without recourse transaction. So it's a very basic question. as a banker on whom I'll have to take a limit in case of an export factoring without recourse?
So there are two things, you can, when you have the buyer on the other side, there are banks which are ready to take the limit. For example, I just give a transaction where Tata Motors is exporting to JLR. Now there will be an ICICI bank in India who says, I know JLR. I don't require a bank over there. So, I can take a direct exposure. Let's say that JLR is replaced by JCPenney. Now the bank in India says, I don't know JCPenney. So I need a bank on the other side which can take the factoring. Or the JLR can directly come on the platform and be a buyer registered with us, and he comes and accepts it and all that. So that is one part of the transaction. The second part of the transaction is there is a bank which will come on the other side and say, I am ready to take a risk on the bank. Now it becomes a bank-to-bank risk for you. So you are not exposed to the customer on the other side, you are exposed to the bank. So from the customer side, rather than taking a customer exposure, now you're taking a bank risk, which is, again, the capital which is required is very less and the pricing can be competitive.
So in that case, the limit is to be taken. I mean, the program is guaranteed by the other bank.
Correct.
Without recourse, but guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Fine, sir.
Yeah.
So
you will pay, the exporter has to pay a price for that.
Yeah, of course, yes. With reference to the limits on regular transactions, export bill transactions, I mean, in case of trades, I'll try to equate trades with ITF. So in case of trades, I am taking a limit on the buyer corporate. So I know the buyer corporate, we try to ring fence the risk by way of looking at their credit rating and all. But in case of an export bill bidding, so here again, the problem will be exporters will be many, and the buyers will be limited. So I'll be taking, how the bank can take a limit.
So there are 2-3 things which will happen. When we take the platform into picture, we first of all do a due diligence, a lot of due diligence will happen on the exporter. At the same time, the due diligence will also happen on the importer. At the same time, you will also go through the FCI chain to get the limits on that particular platform.
In case if it is a with recourse transaction.
In case it's a with recourse transaction, that you do not have any role to play for the other side. It is on this side only. So you have to know the exporter. Then it comes, that it will be something which is replicating the Indian banking system's limits.
No, the universe will be bigger.
The universe will be bigger, but again, when you look at your bank itself, whichever bank is there, so the bank also will look at the exporter's standing, exporter's performance, and then give the limits. But these limits are with recourse. So that means tomorrow the payment does not come from him, the buyer on the other side. I will debit his account and straight away close my export bill.
So again, I am trying to equate with trades platform, regular domestic trades platforms. I mean, in case of a buyer corporate on whom I am taking a limit. So I will be able to get the secondary data from the secondary sources for my assessment. Here, in case of an exporter, I will not be able to get, I mean, he will be an MSME, I will not be able to get the data about the MSME for an assessment. How ITFS will help on this?
So in such cases, see, that's what I'm saying. So that point of time, you will have to do the assessment. In the sense, the ITFS platform will not take a risk over there. But ITFS platform will provide all the data which is required digitally for you to take an assessment on the exporter. Correct?
Can I put it in a different perspective, sir? Okay. When we actually look at a transaction, now we are looking at two types of transaction, with recourse and without recourse.
Just let me introduce. He's working with RXL Global, so he's helping us setting up the platform. He's a senior person over there with us.
So
Mr. Kishore.
My name is Kishore. So let's look at what is without recourse. When we actually do the without recourse transaction, any bank, you being a banker, there are basically two types of risks. Unfortunately, in Indian banking system, we only look at the exporter. But when we look at the global factoring scenario or global solution for without recourse financing, there are two types of risk. One is the performance risk and another is the financial risk. Performance risk is associated with the exporter and financial risk is associated with the ultimate buyer. The idea is that if I am supposed to export the shirts, and if I export the shirts properly, then my risk is being taken care of. And if the buyer doesn't pay on due date, that is a financial risk which is associated with the buyer. Now both these risks need to be assessed properly when you are getting into any kind of structuring of this particular transaction. So as a platform, we are not supposed to take the risk. This is a regulatory guideline, we are not supposed to take the risk. So what we do, we allow you, we enable you to assess this risk. So when we actually do, how do we help you for analyzing the exporter's risk? We will be having all their KYC, balance sheet and all those things. We will be sharing with you. You can actually analyze that. We will be actually having a tie-up with all the credit rating agencies, credit information agencies, and whatever report, information report, you call it DNB report or CRIF report or COFAS report, we'll be taking that report, we'll be sharing that with you, which will help you. And most importantly, over a period of time, we will also have the sales ledger analysis. We always say in the factoring terminology, sales ledger is a mirror of relationship between the seller and the buyer. How many invoices raised, how much payment received, what is the dilution, what is the dispute, what is the debit note, credit note, everything you will get to know. Now, I mean, we will also request DGFT also, if you can get some kind of a data feeds from DGFT about this exports and import for the benefit of the exporters and importers. We can actually create some kind of an analysis and share that with you. Secondly, when you look at the financial risk, it will be assessed by the import factoring company, credit insurance company. So when they are doing it, especially the import factoring bank is there, they are taking a clean risk on that. And when we say import factoring, these are also not small banks, these are all big banks. And they are sticking their neck into it. When they say, I'm giving an import factoring cover, that means they will pay you if there is a default by the buyer within 90 to 120 days from the due date. Clear. For credit insurance, there is a claim process. For import factor, there is no claim process. So they are sticking their neck out. So when we look at the import factoring, there will be charges, but those charges will be for collection. So there will be somebody who is sitting in the buyer's country, taking the full-fledged risk and ensuring that your receivables are safe. If not, they are collecting it, paying it to you. I will give the example. I was speaking to one of the buyer in, client in Mexico. So when we were actually looking at this kind of a structure, the exporter from India, he was basically from Ludhiana, he told me, Kishore, I am happy even if he doesn't give me the full limit. Because why? How do I control that buyer in Mexico? There is somebody, a bank in Mexico, who has given me a commitment that if this buyer defaults, I will make the payment of the invoice. So now I don't need to lose the sleep. That bank need to lose the sleep. So that bank in that country, in that time zone, in their local language, will do the follow-up for me instead of me. And I am happy to pay some charges, factoring charges, whatever it comes to get. And over and above that, I am getting the finance. So you have to look at from the global perspective, how you are actually, for your clients, it will actually benefit the financing. So when we are not looking at only at financing, we are looking at overall solution for your receivables. Look at it from the bank perspective, what banks will get, how do I actually analyze it? You log into the platform, you click on certain buttons, you get the entire reports of the exporters. You click on some reports, you get the entire sales ledger analysis of the exporter. You click on buyers, you get all the details of whatever buyer details what we have. You click on a particular leaf just to ensure that there is an actual shipment. So we have tied up with some service, service provider also, where you click on one leaf and you will actually know where the location of the vessel is. So if exporter has exported the goods to US, it takes something like 40 to 60 days. Within that 40 to 60 days, financing will happen. So bank can click on a particular link and they will know the location of the vessel also. That these particular goods have been shipped by this vessel and this vessel is at this particular location. What was the last port? What was the next port? All the details will be available. What we are trying to provide here is a complete transparency and all kind of an help, assistance by which a banker can take a credit decision. Ultimately, it is a decision what you have to take. Either you can take a performance risk by giving the completely with recourse, then you are taking a financial and performance risk on the seller, or rather there is no performance risk because you are taking a financial risk. In case of without recourse, you are taking the financial risk on the import factor, which is actually given you commitment that if it doesn't pay, I will pay.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we'll take the last question and.
Sorry.
You wanted to say something?
Yeah, just to clear his doubt also on EDPMS, see there is no change in the process. Whatever is the RBI guidelines, that has been taken care and all the documents will be routed by AD. So there is also a process of EDPMS change of a AD. So that has also been taken care of in this entire ITFS project.
What he was just saying, is there some situation where it will be partial factoring?
No, it depends, sir. I mean, the problem is that we have to look at it from the factoring companies and insurance companies also. What happens when you are actually doing it, there can be, if the invoice is big amount, then it's a different issue, we have to structure it. And there will be solution for it. But if the invoice amount is small, and if there are multiple things, then see, technically what happens, we actually do the assignment. And it is all completely automated. Actually, the assignment notice is also getting generated online. So you purchase it, the deed of assignment is getting generated. It is auto emailed to the concerned parties. Notice of assignment is getting generated automatically, and it is getting emailed to the ultimate buyer. So to whom the payment need to be made, how much payment need to be made, all the nosto details, everything has been given on auto basis. It is automated, auto-generated emails are there. Sorry.
Two different questions. One, in case the buyer in the other country wants an extended credit, how do we reflect, how does the system, will the system take care of it? Suppose somebody says, I want 180 days credit or whatever it is. Is it possible? Okay. Okay. Second question, the integrity of data, because will this data be also sold or to share with somebody? Well, ultimately, as good as madam was saying, no, exported data is so sensitive because there is a fear.
So
You know, integrity of the data.
maybe we can ask the regulator on, maybe we can ask Raj to talk about the data privacy, which we are, so maybe Raj can throw light. And under what guidelines we are working with them, with the regulator, to see that, the data does not get leaked, data does not get compromised. Mr. Raj. No, that's what, that's leakage. No. So the leakage is something where you do it intentionally also. You sell it also. So maybe Mr. Raj. So, Mr. Raj.
As I mentioned in the beginning, so there may be some platforms which are active now, but since ITFS is a regulated platform, so a lot of compliances in terms of the platform has been already put as part of the framework. So it is expected that platform owners, they will not share any data except with IFSC or maybe RBI if as and when required. So Data Prevention Act, which is applicable in India, IFSC is also using the same. So all these platforms will have to follow those regulations. Secondly, PMLA guidelines, everything will be applicable to these platforms from the day one itself. So as a regulator, we don't see any reason why anybody should have any concern on the leakage of the data.
Thank you, that's well said.
So maybe you should have actually seen the regulator actually tracking us for the entire data security and all those things. When we have actually going through the phase of this commercial launch, now we are at a sandbox testing. We have been doing the internal testing, UAT testing, and IT reports. There are some kind of an IT audit. My IT team will be in better position too. There is some VAPT audit and so many audits and so many things. They were asked for, they have gone through that data, they have discussed it to our team, and post that only they have given us a support to go ahead. So
I'm not making any argument. There is a primary leakage and there is a secondary leakage. As a routine process, you share with the
so we are regulated entity. It is. I completely agree with it. There is nothing, I cannot make a comment on that, but as a representative, I can only say my first entity, RXL, is also a regulated entity, and RXL Global, his subsidiary, which is also a regulated entity. So we have to follow certain
Thank you, sir.
guidelines.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry
for the inconvenience. The remaining questions from the banker side will be entertained during the dinner session because we have arranged the networking dinner outside. I essentially appreciate invaluable contribution from all the dignitaries as a panelist. And I would like to appreciate Mr. Kailash from RXL as a driving moderator in our panel discussion. Thank you, ma'ams and sirs, for this great going in our thought-provoking panel discussion here. It's very honored to hear from you all. And now I would like to call upon Mr. Kailash Kumar Varodia, Chief Financial Officer, RXL, to give the vote of thanks here.
Vanakkam, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for making this event successful. First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to Honorable MSME Minister, Tamil Nadu Government, Mr. T.M. Anbara Rasam, sir, for his presence and his valuable time for today's event. I also would like to thank Mr. V. Arun Roy, Secretary MSME Department, for his presence in this occasion, and also he has set the agenda for today's event. Now let's appreciate the team behind this show. So I would like to thank FAME TN team, led by Ms. Sigi Thomas, ma'am, Industry Commissioner and Director Industry and Commerce. Thank you, ma'am. Government of Tamil Nadu. Supported by Ms. Grace ma'am, Additional Commissioner, and the team of RXIL, led by Mr. Ketan Gaikwad, MD and CEO. A special thanks to our today's panelists, along with Sigi ma'am and Ketan, Ms. Rajalakshmi Devaraja, Additional DGFT, Mr. Habib Hussain, Regional Chairman, FIEO, SR, South Region, Mr. Raj Kosa, Senior Consultant, IFCA, joined virtually. The discussion is really truly informative, insightful, and it is going to take the export financing at the next level. It's really engaging also. Lots more questions are there. I'm sure during the dinner session we'll be having more questions on this. I would also like to express my gratitude to IOB, Indian Overseas Bank, SLBC convener, along with all the members of SLBC Tamil Nadu present over here, all the senior officials from the bank side, my friends from the bank side. Last but not the least, the soul of today's event, let me thank all the participants, MSME entrepreneurs, all the officials from the organization for their active participation in today's event. Your enthusiasm and engagement made this event really successful and memorable for us. Let me also take this opportunity to thank all the support team. Because of them, because of their tireless efforts, had made this step to go live. All the arrangements and everything in the steep deadline. So please give a round of applause to these guys who has really made this event happen. Once again, thank you all for your support, guidance, making this roadshow a great success, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you, Nandri.
Now it's the time. RXL team wants to give the honors and the gifts to all the panelists. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Next to the Industries Commissioner. Next to the Additional DGFT, ma'am. Thank you so much, Alexi. To evoke feelings of patriotism and remind you of the nation's glory and the beauty, I request all you to stand up in respect to our national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा दव शुभ नामे जाहे दव शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे दव जय गादा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे